Okay, I'm back. I'm back with another spooky story. Yes, that's right. This one's a good one. I promise it's a really good one. You're gonna want to stick around, get your popcorn, get your tea. This one's a spooky one, okay? All right. So now that I have an intro, I'm really not gonna keep y'all for too long, okay? Cue the intro. Wait, no. The story was told to me by my cousin. Cue the intro. So there was this woman. We're gonna call this woman Anna, and then we're gonna call this guy Duke. So you had Anna and Duke, okay? So Anna and Duke were based in Port-au-Prince, IT. So Anna used to do charity. She works with a lot of like charity projects down in Port-au-Prince, and apparently so did Duke. So Anna met Duke during one of her charity events. So ever since Anna met Duke, it's been up and it's been stuck ever since. It was like I guess what you can call like a TV love story, right? Because from the moment that they met each other, everybody could just tell that they had like amazing chemistry. So they went on to date for a little bit, and through them dating, their relationship eventually progressed to them moving in together and eventually starting a family. Now, one thing Anna noted that she loved about Duke was that Duke was a handyman. So like when it came to things around the house, whatever was broken, Duke took care of it. They also had a car. And so whenever the car was having any kind of mechanical problems, Duke would fix it. And so he proven himself to be a very handy man, even down to gardening, planting trees, going up in the trees to get the fruits down, like whatever it is that Anna needed from Duke, she had. And so it was really easy to build a life with Duke, because not only was he this incredible handyman, but he also worked. Like he also did his own things on the side. So he was actually bringing in income, and Anna was able to stay home and actually just take care of the children. Anna and Duke's relationship progressed, like even after they had children, and they had a pretty quiet life. Like there was really nothing like out of the ordinary. Their life seemed to always be like very quiet. So anybody who comes into this neighborhood can just see that this is a very happy couple. And they only had one child, and she was still a toddler, and the husband who worked and was also a handyman. So like people would see that, he was building things, like he was gardening, he was always outside. And so much so that Anna even said that he managed to build like an outdoor gym. So meaning like he literally got materials together and built like lifting racks, like so he would have guys over, and like they would lift from a gym that he made, like he freaking made this. And so clearly his wife started to notice that, okay, I know that you're providing and you're making enough money and stuff for me, but since you're really good at construction and making things, maybe you should go into that realm and maybe you should start constructing. So that was like a little talk that they had, like a little, like a New Year's resolution, if you will. Like maybe, I'll start creating things with my hands, and actually, instead of it being a hobby, I'll actually make money from it and sustain my family from it. Sure, why not? So then fast forward like a couple months, they done forgot about that conversation. He's still working his normal job, and she's, still raising her baby. Suddenly in Haiti, everything is like a community. So when you live in a neighborhood, it's not like America where like you don't really know your neighbors. Like in Haiti, like whenever there's like new neighbors, old, like everybody basically knows everybody. So when there was a new pair of neighbor moving into that neighborhood. So it was a woman, and she came with her husband as well. And they moved to the house right next to their houses. And it wasn't at the time technically a house, so they bought the land, which, obviously takes a while. So Anna and her husband is just witnessing that, they're about to have neighbors just based off of the fact that they're starting to see construction happening in the land adjacent to them. So a couple months after that, at this point, like their daughter's a little bit older, like 1 or 2 years old. And at this point, the neighbor fully moves in. So it's a woman and her husband, no kids. So she moves in, and obviously she makes herself known in the neighborhood. She goes around, hey, what's up? We're going to call this woman Erica. So Erica goes around the neighborhood introducing herself to everybody. Hi, I'm new. This is me. This is my husband. We are a Christian household and da 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 da. Cool. So this was also the neighborhood the neighborhood that Anna lived in, where the neighbor moved in. This was also a very like inclusive neighborhood. So that means like, you know, all the kids will all gather at one person's house. Like I said, everybody in that neighborhood knew everybody, so it was okay for everybody to just send their kids to one person's house, or it was okay for one person to cook for the entire neighborhood that particular day. So it was kind of like it takes a village. It was basically really like a village. And so with this new neighbor coming in, of course, you know, they're welcoming her into this village with open hand. But, you know, within every village, there's gossip, there's rumors. So people are going to talk about each other, right? So although when this new neighbor moved in, Erica, everybody welcomed Erica with open hands. Everybody loved Erica. But, you know, one day Anna goes over to one of her other neighbors' house. We're going to call the other neighbor Joselyn. Anna goes over to Joselyn's house, and they're all sitting and chilling, having a good time. And Joselyn suddenly says to Anna, hey girl, by the way, I went to Erica's house, and basically Erica had a shrine. And it wasn't just like any regular shrine. Nobody in that neighborhood were necessarily strangers to voodoo. Like everybody knew about voodoo, but I guess the reason why Joselyn brought it up and was talking about it was because of the fact that Erica introduced herself as a Christian to the entire neighborhood. So when Joselyn went to her house, she saw a shrine. She was like, I thought she was Christian. But obviously you do not question Haitian women about these things. Whatever they tell you is what they tell you. So Joselyn said, like, you know, she just basically looked all around her house and basically kind of felt a vibe. She's like, I don't know about the whole Christian thing, but like sometimes people like to disguise themselves as Christians and actually not act like to disguise themselves as Christians just so they can disguise their horrible evil ways. And so Joselyn and Anna are just sitting there just gossiping about it, just gossiping about what could be. But, you know, obviously she's new and everybody still has to learn her ways. Like Erica is still new to the neighborhood. So fast forward, they moved on from that. They decided, okay, it's probably nothing. They just kept talking. Now fast forward to Erica coming to Anna's house one day. So Erica comes over and she's like, hey girl, you know, she brought over some food and she's just like, yeah, you know, obviously I'm new to the neighborhood. I just want to introduce myself. You know I introduced myself to some of the other ladies, da 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 da. She came inside, they sat down, they had some lemonade, they spoke. Anna would now start to build a friendship with Erica. Just from the initial sit down that they had, from the lemonade and the talks that they would have, they knew that they were gonna hit it off right away. So instantly, Anna and Erica became friends. So they talked about their husbands, and Erica was telling Anna about kids that she would like to have in the future, about plans that she has with her man in the future. And Anna is basically giving Erica advice because a lot of the things that she says that she wants for herself are things that Anna already achieved. But Anna and her man weren't in a perfect position because remember, the husband is still really good at construction or making things with his hand, whatever you would call that. And so Anna is still trying to push her husband into that field. And so they know that even though they're comfortable, they could be more comfortable. You know what I mean? So from that initial talk, cool, those two ladies were cool. Boom. So the neighborhood will continue on, and now they just have a new addition, Erica. So obviously the same thing would go on. Erica always loved the kids. So people, you know, as time went on, started to trust Erica with their children. So they would go over there, drop it. It was no big deal. So in the midst of Erica, you know, watching the children and things like that, sometimes it would be so like I said, it was everybody from the neighborhood, right? It was a village. So if one person drops their kids off at Joselyn's house today, then most likely everybody's like, okay, Joselyn's off, we're gonna drop the kids off at Joselyn. And it's the same case for Erica, and it would be the same case for Anna, you know? So that day, I guess Erica had volunteered to watch the children from the neighborhood. The parents would get up, get the children ready, and bring them all to Erica's house for that day. It was pretty routine. The kids would come back happy. The kids always seemed to love it over there at Erica's house for one reason or another. So the parents never had any reasons to question anything or to feel like anything would be weird. So Joselyn was pregnant at the time. So Joselyn is with child, and Joselyn also had another kid. And she used to very much so go over to Erica's house to drop off her kid for Erica to watch. And also Erica would come over sometimes, you know, to hang out with all the mothers from the neighborhood, to hang out with everybody from the neighborhood. Everybody knew everybody is what I'm saying. Joselyn knew Anna, Anna knew Joselyn, Joselyn knew Erica, Erica knew everybody else that ever existed. I would create like different names for each neighbor, but it would be really hard for me to keep up with. But the point for you to know is that everybody in that neighborhood were cool. And also people from that neighborhood generally, like, you had voodoo as in. So pretty much kind of like my family, where they practice voodoo if they had to, but for the most part, they do believe in God. So when Erica came around saying, you know, she is a Christian, but Joselyn had saw a shrine in her house, like, they still never really thought too much of it, because that is very on brand for Haitians. So fine. So the neighborhood has always been peaceful. It's continuing to be peaceful until one day a pregnant Joselyn will fall sick. And people would wonder what's wrong with Joselyn. Now the thing is, like, they didn't do hospital visits. Like in Haiti, like, they really rely on medicinal properties from your backyard. So like everything that, like, we don't do pharmaceuticals. When Joselyn got sick out of nowhere, the entire neighborhood was alarmed. They were like, yo, Joselyn is suddenly sick. So it started off as a cough. So Joselyn was just coughing, like it's a cold maybe, or the weather is probably changing, so Joselyn can probably feel that. And knowing that she is pregnant, her immune system is not as strong as it normally would. So, you know, obviously people gave her husband the advice to like make her tea, make her certain herbs that would, you know, help slow down the cough and also increase her immune system. And after days of like him giving her tea, it seems like Joselyn's condition is getting worse. And so it's like, what's happening to Joselyn? Okay, that's weird. So because she's always had a healthy pregnancy, and she's pretty far along in her pregnancy as well, that people started, creating like a prayer circle for her. Because then in Haitian culture, it's like, okay, well, if the tea did not work, then it's really, somebody is really doing something to her. So people with that mindset started becoming paranoid that somebody or dark voodoo or some sort of magic would have to be involved here. So the entire neighborhood, every single person that lives in this neighborhood would come down to Joselyn's house to hold prayers for Joselyn. Like the kids would be there, everybody would be there, and they would be hosting prayers for Joselyn. Now Erica would be one of the people to step up to pray for Joselyn. Erica would say that the church that she went to was a very, very spiritual Catholic church, and so they witnessed a lot of miracles in that church. Okay, and so out of desperation, when Erica would like volunteer to pray, it's like, yes girl, anybody who feels the most connected to source, step in and do what you gotta do. So Erica would just pray for that girl, and nothing was improving. Like her situation was not getting any better. And at this point, when they're like, okay, we have people that are praying for you, we have a community, and the fact that you're not even improving and your situation is getting worse would lead us to believe that this is definitely some sort of like spell that was put on you, and that we definitely have to like nip this in the bud before it takes you and the baby out. Joselyn would go to a voodoo priest, and the voodoo priest would tell her that, yes, you definitely have a spell on you. And it's crazy because the spell was meant for your child. But because your child is divinely protected, for whatever reason, it bounced on to you. It's odd, but it was very much so meant for your child to experience. So then this mother's like, wait, my unborn child? And the priest is like, no, your actual kid, your kid. And at this point, Joselyn is confused because who would be after her kid? Who would put a spell on her kid? Like, this makes no sense. And everybody within this community is involved with each other. So it can't be anybody from this community. This would have to be somebody from work, or this would have to be somebody from her husband's side. This cannot be anybody from this neighborhood. So when Joselyn asks, what can she do to get this off of her and, to rid herself of this curse, the voodoo priest, would charge her a certain amount of money and would tell her exactly what to do. And the voodoo priest even asked her to come back so that she can bathe herself in this particular body of water and so that she can leave the spell behind. So Joselyn would go through all of this process, and in the meantime, she didn't tell anybody that she went and visited a voodoo priest or anything. She literally, at this point, Joselyn was just doing what was best for her. So she goes to that voodoo priest, she gets washed and everything, and then she gets back home, and that is when Joselyn officially started to feel better. So now Joselyn is like, getting back on her good foot, and at this point she's on bed rest, and she doesn't really want anybody to know that she is feeling better, because the one thing that you can do in Haitian culture to fuck yourself over is if somebody ever harms you and you are healing, to tell everybody that you're healing or that you've healed, because it will come right back. So Joselyn basically laid low for basically up until birth. So even in the neighborhood, Joselyn wasn't becoming as involved, because now it's all about giving birth to this child and making sure that this child grows up to be healthy. Fair enough, Joselyn would go into labor. So she goes into labor, she has the child, and at this point it's like, okay, any fear of this child being taken in the belly is now gone, but any fear of, witches haunting this newborn is now born. So basically now Joselyn gave birth to this child, and it's her job to basically stay home full time and take care of her newborn. So with her kid, her older kid, she really didn't have as much time for him, because not only is Joselyn taking care of herself postpartum, but she's also taking care of a whole newborn baby. So, this child at this point, she would allow him to run freely a lot more. So like whenever, the other neighbors would have the kids over, like, okay, just go on over, go outside and go play with the kids. Now, Joselyn is, in her room, in her world, doing her whole thing. So as Joselyn is recovering, doing her own thing, Erica and Anna's relationship at that point is really starting to flourish. Like at this point, like they come to each other's houses back and forth. Like it is a community, but within the community, obviously there are people that like are closer to each other. And so for Anna and her husband, this was perfect. Because like they get company, her husband gets to go to work, come back, there's company, there's beer, there's liquor, like, good vibes. It was never a boring time when Anna had her neighbor over. One day, Anna had to go visit her family on the other side of Port-au-Prince. So that means she was gonna be gone for 7 days. So basically, she left her kid with her husband and basically went to go see her family. So as she's away over there, kind of taking some time away from being a mom, and it's cool because the kid is with the father. It's cool vibes. They're chilling. Anna's away with her family, enjoying life, having a good time, doing her thing. Something is still missing for her, because she had never been away from her child for that long since she had given birth. And at this point, this child is like 2, almost about to be 3. You know what I mean? And so it's like, for Anna, she's really, really not used to being away from her kid for that far. And even her husband, like, she misses him. So even though she was set to go out for 7 days, she decided by day 3, like, yeah, I spent 3 days out here. Like, I should probably start thinking about heading back to my family, because I miss my kids very much. Because I miss my kid very much. And also Anna was telling her family, like, next time I come on down, like, she was too nervous about traveling with her baby to the other side of Port-au-Prince, because we have rocky roads and all of that stuff. So she told her family, you know what? Like, I will come back with my child next time, but it's just, I cannot stay for the full 7 days, because my heart is literally pounding out of my chest every second. So she decides to come home early. When she comes home, the baby is not home and her husband is also not home. So it's like, okay, well, if the husband's not home, she didn't call anybody. Because in Haiti, also, like, up until this point, I don't know how technology is being used out there, but they definitely were, like, you know what I mean? So she just basically popped up home. So, but when she got there, her husband wasn't in the house, her baby wasn't in the house. So, you know, she took that time, took a shower, got herself ready, and a couple of hours went by. That's still the case. No one's home. So then she's like, okay, that's when she goes outside to go see her neighbor, because she's just like, okay, I'm back home. I'm just gonna go see my friend. And maybe there's a possibility that her child is with Erica. So she left her house and went over to Erica's house. She knocks on the door, and she hears Erica walk to the door, and Erica's like, Kiasa, so who is this? And she's like, girl, it's me. And Erica was like, me who? And then she was like, girl, you know my voice, da da da, stop playing, open the door. And she hears Erica literally walk away from the door. So she knocks on the door again, and she's like, yo, stop playing with me. Like, you know, open, why are you not opening the door? Why are you being weird? It's all the simple fact that she already spoke to her. Like, she already knew Erica was home, because Erica asked her, who is this? And so obviously you're home. So for you to walk away, and she's standing outside, Anna is standing outside banging on the door, and nobody is answering, she's like, okay, cool. So she decides to say fuck it and goes and sits home. But at this point, it's really icking her, because she's like, did I do something? Because why did I just get back home and Erica's being weird? Like, what's that about? Side eye. Okay. So goes back to her house on her side of the land, and she's sitting outside where it's like shady, and she's watching like Erica's house, like just really wondering like, what is going on? When suddenly she sees her husband and her child leaving Erica's house, and they leave Erica's house and come straight to her house. So she's sitting outside, so they don't see her. And she comes inside, and she goes to confront her husband, because she was just like, yo, you know how long I've been back? So her husband came back and wasn't even shocked to see that she came back. She was like, do you know how long ago I came back? And her husband's like, I thought you weren't supposed to be back for like, you know, another three days. Like, you know, you came back early type shit. She's like, yeah. But like the weirdest thing ever is that when I came back, you and my kid were not in the house. And then I crossed over, went to Erica's house. Erica walked to the door, heard me knocking, and asked, who is this? And when I answered who this was, she didn't open the door. I kept knocking. Erica still did not open the door. Erica actually walked away and acted like nobody was home, until she got embarrassed and walked all the way back to her house, sat outside, racking her brain, trying to figure out what the fuck is wrong with her friend and why she's acting different, just to see her beloved husband and her child walking out of Erica's house. So you have some explaining to do, sir. So he goes to explain, oh, you know, I was basically busy today. I couldn't stay home by myself to watch the child. So I went and dropped the kid off for Erica to watch, and then, you know, I went about my business. I literally just came back to pick up the child. It's strange that you would come to, you know, Erica's house and she wouldn't open the door. It's strange that, you know, she would ignore you. I don't know anything about that. All I know is I literally just came back and picked up my kid. And she was like, but I sat outside the whole time and I didn't see you walk into Erica's house. He's like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's literally what happened. Like, dropped him off, and now I came back and I picked him up. I didn't even know you were home. I'm so happy you're home, though. Our kid is home. So now Anna is growing a little bit suspicious of Erica, because Erica, what were you doing with my husband? So then the following day, she decides, nah, this is not going to cut it for me. So she goes back to Erica's house. So she knocks on the door, and this time Erica opens the door. Erica's like, she's like, girl, what happened? Like, yesterday I came over here. I was so excited to see you. I thought you had my kid, because when I came home, my kid wasn't even home. So I came over here to see what was up with you, and maybe to see if you had my child, and I knocked on the door. You did not answer. Erica was like, oh girl, that was you knocking on the door? She's like, girl, don't play with me because you asked me who this was and I said, it's me. She was like, oh, I didn't know you meant it was you, like it was you as in Anna. I thought you meant like it was you as in, I don't know, Lewis. I don't fucking know. It could have been anybody. Like, I just didn't want to open the door while I was watching a child. And so, you know, your voice didn't sound the same. Maybe it's because you've been gone for 3 days. The weather changed, so your voice sounds a little raspier, girl. But I really genuinely did not think it was you. So, yeah. So she was like, okay, well, what time did my husband come and drop off my child? She said 9 a.m. And she was like, okay, what time did he come back? She was like, oh, well, he came back a little bit after you came knocking on the door. And she was like, but that's weird because I went back to the house, I sat out back, and I did not see anybody walk through your house. I didn't see him walk in to pick up the kid. I only seen him walk out to come home. So she's like, I don't know, maybe you must have looked away, da-da-da-da-da. I don't know what to tell you. But point is, he dropped off the kid and he came back to pick up the kid. Cool beans. So they decided to move on past that situation and to just, it's whatever. She can't figure out the math today, so it's cool. So they just decided to move on. Now, Joselyn, remember the neighbor that just had the baby, she starts coming back out into society a little bit more. Now, when Joselyn had the baby, she had a few of her family members come on over to help. So that would include her grandmother and her mother. And they both came over to basically watch the baby and to do a protection spell for the baby, that, you know, nothing actually happens to the baby. So when her mother comes over, when Joselyn's mother and grandmother comes over, that's when in the midst of that, they would meet Erica. Instantly upon meeting Erica, Joselyn's grandmother did not like her. She went to Joselyn and she told Joselyn, I don't know about this girl. I can't put my finger on what it is, but something about her energy I just do not trust. Like, I don't think it's good for you to have her in this house while you just had a newborn. And Joselyn would be like, no, you know, at this point, Erica's been a part of the neighborhood for over a year. So, nah, like, you know, she's valid. She cool. You just have to get to know her. And Joselyn's grandmother would be like, I'm grown. I don't have to get to know anybody to know that they're bad, that they're not good, that they don't have your best interests at heart. I could just look at them and tell. So Joselyn was like, okay, cool, noted. So Erica keeps being around Anna. So they would hang out a lot and she would watch Anna's kid, you know, whenever she could. And one day while they were hanging out, and Anna's kid was basically, you know, running around, Anna's husband winds up coming home and basically, like, usually her husband would want to like stick around and hang out with them, but this time her husband didn't seem interested in hanging out with the both of them. And it seemed like as soon as the husband came home, Erica wanted to go. So Anna was like, that's weird because usually he would come back home from work, we would all lime, have a beer, but this time he wants to be in the room and you want to leave. That's cool. So that day she decides to go on over to Joselyn's house and just speak a little bit. So as she's speaking, she's like, girl, I don't know if I should feel some type of way about this. So at this point, she's filling Joselyn in on what, like, she just walked into her husband at the neighbor's house and they're denying it. So and they're gaslighting her about it too. So she's talking to Joselyn. She's like, Joselyn, like, what do you think? Like, I don't know what to think. I'm starting to believe them, but I know that part of the story is missing and it makes no sense. So then Joselyn's family like basically barges into the conversation and says basically that there's something about Erica that they do not trust. They can't quite put their finger on what, but it's something about that girl that they just don't quite trust. So now you have Anna a little bit like, oh shoot, like, should I be on the lookout? Like, maybe I should keep my head on a swivel. So basically she left their house, went back home. Erica and Anna, they wind up hanging out again. So this time, Anna comes home and Anna's sick. suddenly. But Anna's sickness wasn't like Jocelyn's, where it was getting progressively worse. Anna's sickness was just, she just got sick. Like, Anna came home and was sick. It was a brief second between being okay and having chronic pain, chronic headache, can't even talk, like you're completely sick. She can't even take care of herself. So then bedridden, fever at like over 100, all of this. So now when the neighborhood catches heat that, you know, Anna's sick, same thing. Whole community comes together, prayer circle, prayer this, prayer that. And that would include Jocelyn's grandmother and her mother that would pull up, right? Right. So they all pull up and they're leading prayer, and this girl is not getting better. And at some point she faints and goes into a coma. Now, again, they didn't go to the hospital. They're basically at home. This girl's in a coma. Like, literally, she was just walking yesterday. She was fine yesterday. Why the fuck is she in a coma? How did she wind up in a coma today? That does not make sense. And everybody here should be questioning this. So basically, when Joselyn went home with her family, Jocelyn's grandmother says that I have a feeling that that girl Erica has something to do with that. And she's like, why would you think that Erica has something to do with this? She's like, because was it her and Erica quite close? And didn't she literally hang out with Erica the day that she got sick when she came home? She's like, yeah, but like, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's Erica. Like, if anything, that would be too hot. Like, it can't be Erica. And the grandmother is like, like, I know what I'm talking about. It is Erica. The grandmother was dead set that it was Erica. And Joselyn wasn't so sure. Now, at this point, Anna is underneath a coma. Joselyn goes over to the house to talk to Anna's husband about Anna's condition. And when she gets there, she's just like, you know, freaking out. She's like, I'm so sad. Like, I'm so sorry this is happening to you and your daughter. Like, genuinely, I am so sorry. What can we do? My mother thinks that it's voodoo included. Like, my mother and my grandmother thinks that this is voodoo induced. Like, that somebody is working voodoo on your wife. So we need to figure out something to do. Maybe go to a voodoo priest, because when she had gotten sick back when she was pregnant, she found out it was because somebody was working voodoo on her. So she went to go visit this voodoo priest. Like, she swears by him. So she just needs him to go to get him to come and see her so he can tell her what's wrong. So he can tell him what's wrong before it's too late for her. And he's basically like, you know, I think she's fine. Like, you know, if anything, like, people grow sick. She had a child 3 years ago. You don't know how that affects the body. She's probably sleeping, if anything. Yeah, she's probably tired. And she's like, no, I don't think she's tired. I don't think so. I really think your wife is like brushing with death right now. And he's just not concerned whatsoever. Like, the dude who was so in love with his wife, the handyman who should get into construction and build things with his hand, that motherfucker literally went from loving and adoring his wife to, yeah, you know, if you call it a coma, but I call it sleep. I call it rest, you know? And so now that got Joselyn suspicious. So she went back home and told her parents, like, nah, y'all got it all wrong. I don't think that Erica did anything to Anna, girl. I think her husband did something to her. Because when I went over there and I told her about what I went through, and I had the voodoo priest, and he should get the voodoo priest for his girl, for his gal, and he was like, nah, she cool. So I know men are stupid, but like, they can't be that level of stupidity, right? So then the grandmother's like, okay. So in the meantime, while Anna is in a coma, Joselyn and his family now would go suspicious of the husband. So now they would watch the husband without the husband knowing. And within them watching the husband, they would watch this motherfucker walk out of his house literally multiple times a day straight to Erica's house. For what? God knows what. And yes, Erica did have a husband. And so everybody was just trying to figure out, like, what is going on? What is the dynamic? And also, no one ever saw Erica's husband, really. Like, they saw him, but, like, he didn't talk to anybody. for somebody who was a part of the neighborhood, like, he did not interact with anyone. People really only saw him like passing type shit, like if he's going to work or coming from work. But like, it seemed like him physically being in the house wasn't an often thing, which is why it was okay that Erica wanted to watch the kids a lot, because she had the house all to herself. So it was weird for now Joselyn and her family to be watching and to be seeing that this man is literally leaving his house multiple times a day while his wife is in a coma to go to the neighbor house. So now they're like, okay, all right. So then Joselyn was like, okay, well, if there's any chance at her surviving. So then what people started to think was, okay, well, maybe the husband is doing something because he wants to be with Erica. So maybe that's what's going on. Maybe he did something to Anna to make her sick so that he could go and be with Erica. But what about Erica's husband? So people were just genuinely confused. So one day, nobody knows that Joselyn is onto Erica, basically. So one day Joselyn goes on over to Erica's house, really just to scope the scenery out. So she went in there and, you know, the same thing, she saw her shrine or whatever. And at this point, she saw that Erica's husband was home. And this would be one of the first times that she would really get to sit down and talk to Erica's husband. So she sits down and she notices that Erica's husband really doesn't sit down very much. So she's like, okay, this man is really here, there, and everywhere. And at the same time, he moves kind of slow. Like, I want y'all to think of somebody who's in the sunken place. Like, eyes have no emotion, face has no emotion. Like, he literally looks like he's moving around just to move around. So Erica is like, So Joselyn is like, there's something up with that man. I can't quite put my finger on what, but there's something up with him. Why is he moving around like a zombie? Why is he moving around like a zombie? So she went back home and she acted like she didn't notice anything wrong with Erica's husband. She minded her business. She spoke to Erica like it was normal and went back home and reported back to her family that Erica's husband literally moves like a zombie. And she's like, I don't know what's really happening here, but like, I don't think she'll have an issue getting rid of her husband, because the husband, we don't even think he's alive type of shit. Like, this is the one part that my cousin made sure to tell me, like, Joselyn didn't even know if that man was alive type shit. Like, that is a zombie if anybody's ever seen one like this. Like, anyway, so she told her family, and her family's like, okay, so she has a zombie for her husband. That makes sense. She's probably looking for, you know, a real person with feelings and emotions and all of this. Long story short, it's very sad, but eventually, sadly, Anna winds up passing away from her coma. So they had an entire funeral arrangement. The entire neighborhood came together. It's very sad because she left behind a beautiful little girl. And the entire neighborhood came together, did a prayer, had a whole wake and everything, and basically they buried her. And the day that she died, Joselyn winded up having a dream that Anna came to her and told her that Erica actually did something to her, and that not only Erica did something to her, but Erica also did something to her husband. That basically, like, the true tea is, oh my god, this is a mind fuck. The true tea is, Erica's husband was supposed to die, but then Erica decided not to let him die and put him under a spell. And then this spell that she was under is basically like a zombie spell, like where you keep somebody awake where they're at that brim of death. Like, they're basically dead. They don't have emotions, they don't have feelings, they don't comprehend very much. All they know is work. Like, whatever it is that you've instilled into them is what they do. They have no memory, they have no, like, nothing. They have no sense of self. They're literal workers. There's nothing he hears, like, he just freaking works, because Erica did not want to be alone. So when Erica was actually the one making a lot of, like, the household decisions and just making it seem like her man was doing it. But in reality, it was actually Erica. So down to them moving into that new property, buying the land and everything, everybody's thinking it's her husband. No, it's Erica doing all of this. and her husband is just there working. Like, he just works, that's it. Like, he literally goes to work, comes back home, stands in the house, cooks, clean, literally sits down, gets up, goes back to work. That's literally what Erica's husband does. And nobody else knew about this until Joselyn had a dream when Anna came to her after Anna tragically passed away to tell her that Erica is a sorcerer, and Erica is the one that got her husband and that got her. So Erica done put a spell on Anna's husband because she was jealous of their relationship. Apparently, her freaking zombie husband could not give her a child. Her zombie husband could not give her a child. So what did she do? She decided to take the next woman's man. But she did it in the worst way possible because she befriended Anna. How you befriend somebody, fuck their man, put a spell on their man, and take their man for yourself when you already got a man? That's just greedy. So, yeah, so basically, Joselyn winds up waking up from the dream and going to her grandmother and telling her grandmother, like, you guys were right, I just had this dream. That's the thing, Haitians never question their dreams. Like, they know what their dreams mean. So basically, she went to her grandmother and was like, yo, you guys were right. She's not to be trusted. And she killed Anna. And yeah, we don't know who else. And I'm starting to think that when I was pregnant, it was attempted murder on me, because I just don't think she actually likes many kids from this neighborhood. Like, I don't think she likes any of our lifestyles. Even though we've done our best to make her feel included, I think she wants it for herself. And so with that being said, that started scaring Joselyn away. So she went back to the voodoo priest and told the voodoo priest to basically do something, to basically give her something that would make somebody, that would trigger somebody to want to flee, that would trigger somebody to want to run. So the voodoo priest, again, charged her a price, gave her this thing, and told her to go around and sprinkle it all around her property. And yeah, basically, she would be really brave if she stayed. Basically, like, she started screaming inside of the house. Like, after they sprinkled, like Erica started just like screaming from inside the house. Like, she literally ran out the house like freaking screaming. And every single time she tried to get back in the house, that same feeling from the inside would start to happen, and she would just scream and scream and scream and scream and scream. So then I think she started to understand the idea that somebody had planted something to where she can't even stay inside of her house. And mind you, inside of her house is where her shrine and everything exists. So she wouldn't even be able to find out who the fuck did this or what. And then also on top of that, her zombie ass husband is inside the house and he's not running out screaming. So like, what is going on right now? Joselyn went around and told the other ladies in the neighborhood what the tea was, why Anna suddenly passed away, and that basically they should keep their babies, their kids, and everybody, including themselves, away from Erica, because she was wildin'. Like, she was honestly wildin'. And Erica basically left that house there and didn't try to come back for like a couple of months after, because she knew that somebody put something on the house and she was going to try to remove it from the property and all of that. And at this point, she started to understand that people in the neighborhood were onto her. And so she basically like literally left that property, came back a few months later, and I guess at that point did whatever she needed to do to get back into the house. And I guess her being away from her husband decomposed inside of the house. Yes, like, he decomposed inside of the freaking house. So when she came back, I guess nobody else ever went inside the house to, like, you know, check or anything. Like, they literally, Joselyn put the thing around her property and never touched that property again. Nobody from the neighborhood even wanted to go close to that house. But apparently the husband was inside and he decomposed inside of the house as well. She came back literally months later to grab a few things, and she was gone all over again, and she was literally never seen. And people only knew that her ex-husband was decomposed inside of that house when she left the door open, and the stink literally started to like pour out of her house, and people became like, oh my God, like, what is going on? People were concerned. So they would go in and they would see that this man was decomposed inside of the house. Now, as far as Anna and Anna's husband and her child goes, they remained in that house, and everybody did come back to tell him that Erica did do a spell on her, and he didn't believe it. So yeah, so when Erica decided that she was gonna run off into the city and stuff, and all of that, because she knew that the neighborhood was in on her, the man, he stayed in the house for a little bit with the kid, and then eventually he moved as well. And nobody knows if he moved to go be with Erica or what, but all they know is Erica left and came back a few months later. But before Erica came back, he had moved out shortly after Erica left, and they have yet to seen him or Anna's kid ever since. That's the story, y'all. That's the story from my cousin. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I appreciate you guys so much. You guys are literally the best. We are close to 10,000 subscribers on this app. Like, if you guys get me to 10,000 subscribers, I will literally die. So do that. Thank you. I would appreciate that. I would really love to have 10,000 subscribers. I've never had 10,000 subscribers before, and I think it would be really cool. I've also been reading your comments from the previous videos, and I saw that you guys just want me to make any types of like story times as long as they're long. So I have so many story times coming up that I will definitely be sharing with y'all. So stay tuned. I have the next week and a half off. So of course, expect to see more of me on YouTube, at least for now. And if you don't know, I go live on YouTube these days. So make sure you catch me when I am on live next, okay? Thank you guys so much for watching this story time. If you're not following me on Instagram, what do I have to do to get you to follow me on Instagram? Is it like, do I have to show some ass for it? I'll do what I gotta do because this is crazy. I tell y'all to go follow me on Instagram just so I know that it's real. I had to show you guys my bum just now. And if you guys still don't do it, I'm a $2 whore. Golly. Alright. I've decided that I'm okay. Thank you guys so much. If you're not following me on TikTok, make sure you follow me on TikTok. I love you guys. I love you, my abducted humans. And also, I met Blizzy. Yay! Yes, Blizzy, her and I definitely met, and I will be dropping a vlog on my channel of me meeting Blizzy, and she is dropping a podcast very soon. So you guys stay tuned, because in her podcast, we will be talking about the dark and the mysterious. So yes. Stay tuned, and I love you, my abducted humans. I'm starving. Later, bye. Also, brands, I'm accepting collaborations. So